So, good evening all. This is Subramaniam Chandrodayam from Tamil Nadu. Really, I feel very happy. And first of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity to introduce myself. So, I am from a nuclear family. We are 3 members: myself, my wife, and my daughter. And my parents are no more. I have 2 siblings. They are elder brothers. They are surviving with their family. So, I completed my PhD in 2005 January from Bharatdasan University on avian ecology, and then my PG program was on wildlife sciences, and then UG program botany, chemistry and zoology combination from the same university. So, I served in different colleges, universities in India as well as abroad. So, I just want to move into my topic. Today I am going to discuss few things about biodiversity, because it's a coin term, it is very important term now. So, I just want to share some of the ideas about biodiversity. So, the word biodiversity is a contraction of biological diversity coined by Edward Wilson in 1986. So, what 1986 he defined this biodiversity as the variety and variability among living organisms in the ecological complexes. So, it is a very vast concept. It refers to the range of variations of differences among some set of entities. So, that this biological diversity refers the varieties within the living world. So, how many varieties they are existing in the living world can be assessed by using this concept. So, that it is an umbrella term. It is an umbrella term because it includes all. It includes the entire living part of the world. So, that it is the umbrella term. So, that this is a very wider concept. It is commonly described the number varieties and variabilities of the living organisms in the given ecosystem or within an ecosystem. So, this is biodiversity. So, this biodiversity has different services, because any natural ecosystem, when it is considered as the healthy ecosystem, so when the biodiversity values are very high, then it is considered as the healthy ecosystem. So, that any healthy ecosystem, it has 4 different services. So, the first one is a provisioning service, and the second one is regulating service, third one is supporting service, and then the fourth one is cultural service. So, this provisioning services, it is a very important one, and in that we are using this provisioning services for the mankind. So, food, fibers and fuel, genetic resources, biochemicals, fresh water, all these are provided by the provisioning services. And then this regulating services. In regulating services, invasion resistance is a very important component. So, this invasion resistance, so any natural ecosystem, if it is diverse, then it will not allow any invasive species to spread. It will resist the new species, means invasive species. They will not allow them to grow. So, that this kind of natural resistance is there in diversified ecosystems. And then herbivory energy transfer. In energy transfer, we know that any system, it should have the input, storage and output. These 3 should be balanced. So, here this herbivory energy transfer is very important part of the energy flow or the energy transfer. So, here this system is controlled by the diversity. So, that when this system herbivory energy transfer, when this system is controlled or regulated, then the remaining part of the system will function properly. So that here this is one important service it gives us. And then pollination. Pollination is a process that we know that many species they are involved in pollination, and it directly helps for the yielding. And then seed dispersal, here also many organisms they are involved. And then climatic regulation services. Climatic regulation is very important because monocultural plantations are not playing any positive role in climatic control. Climatic control is very important. So here this in regulating services, this climatic control regulation is a very important phenomena. So that here this diversified habitats it helps for this climatic regulations. And then pest regulation, disease regulation, natural hazard protections, and then erosion regulations, water purification, these all are regulating services through the diversified habitats, that means natural habitats. So and then the next one is a supporting service. So here in supporting services, primary production, provision of habitats, nutrient cycle, soil formation and retention, production of atmospheric oxygen, and then water cycling, all are coming under the supporting services. So these supporting services it involves in the system functioning. So mainly so the system viability can be estimated by this supporting services. And then cultural services, so spiritual and religious values are considered here. And then knowledge system, education and inspiration, so education for the education purpose, and recreation and aesthetic values, recreational values and aesthetic values all are coming under this. So these are all the services, 4 different services. So these services are served by a diversified habitat, so that this diversity can be assessed in 3 levels. So the first level is alpha level, second is beta level, and then the last one is gamma level. So in alpha level we will concentrate up to community. In community, what are the characteristics are present in a community, that we will assess. This is refers to the average species diversity within a particular area or a small area, and then habitat or a community or an ecosystem, a portion of ecosystem, not the entire ecosystem. So that here it is targeting a smaller group, so that it is the smaller level. And then the beta diversity is a species diversity between ecosystems. So here it is little larger, so medium scale. In beta diversity we will go for the species enumeration, and we will compare different ecosystems or habitats, so that we will get the exact number of these species present in that area. And we will compare 2 or 3 different ecosystems, and we will collect the habitat specific species. We can get the list of habitat specific list while we are going for this beta diversity assessment. And then the third one is gamma diversity assessment. It is a wider one. So overall, how many species are present in all these ecosystems overall. So for example, if you go for the avian survey, so you will take different ecosystems, and you will count the number of these species present in all the ecosystems, and you will just take the sum of all. So this is the overall diversity values, we will get overall diversity values. So, this is the large scale one. So, alpha is a smaller scale, beta is the medium scale, and gamma is the large scale one. So, these are all the different surveys we are using for the biodiversity. And how this diversity can be conserved, because conservation is a very important part. So, here we use two different practices we are practicing today. So, one is in situ conservation practices and then ex situ conservation practices. So, we have two different types of practices. So, the first one is in situ conservation. In situ conservation means conservation of the organisms in its natural ecosystem or in its home. So, through some managerial activities or protection measures and some of the activities, by using some of the strategies or activities, we will try to protect the species. So, this is in the natural ecosystems like protected areas, biosphere reserves, sacred forests and sacred lakes. These areas we will directly go and we will go to their place and we will try to conserve them in their natural ecosystems. So, nearly there are 37,000 protected areas globally. In India alone we have 612 protected areas, among which 99 national parks and 513 wildlife sanctuaries they are existing in India for the conservation of wildlife or biodiversity in situ conservation centers. So, this 612 protected areas all are involved in this in situ conservation practices. And then the next one is ex situ conservation. So, this ex situ conservation practices, it includes the botanical gardens, zoos, conservation stands, gene pools and then seed banks, all are coming under this ex situ conservation practices. So, where the organisms they are not viable to survive in natural ecosystems will be collected and it will be protected in this ex situ conservation centers. There mostly we will use this portion of the population will be used for the breeding, captive breeding. So, actually these ex situ conservation centers are mostly it functions as the captive breeding centers. So, most of the captive breeding programs are successful and some of the populations are re-established. For example, this Arizona wolf, it is one of the best example, ibex in Middle East. These are all some of the examples. So, this captive breeding program is one of the effective program it is we are using in the ex situ conservation centers. And nearly there are 1500 botanical gardens, that means it is registered botanical gardens. Apart from that, there are so many smaller undeclared botanical gardens, but these are all the declared botanical gardens meant for captive breeding. So, there are 1500 globally and there are 80,000 species are protected in these botanical gardens, 80,000 species, just imagine. And there are nearly 800 professionally managed zoos, that means certified zoos, it is declared as zoos. The mini zoos and the smaller zoos are not included here, these all are declared captive breeding centers. So, there are 800 professionally managed zoos globally. So, they are maintaining nearly 3000 species of mammals, birds, reptiles and amphibians for the captive breeding process. So, they are trying to re-establish the population and some of them are successful. This olive green turtle is, it's a successful story. We have so many stories, successful stories in ex situ conservation. So, these are all the conservation we are using to maintain the biodiversity. So, biodiversity we are trying our level best to restore. But anyhow, there are some natural things we cannot fight against the nature, still we are trying. So, that with this I just want to close this session. Remaining things we can discuss in person. Thank you very much.